Welcome to Next to Madison, a podcast to help you live your best life.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Next to Madison. I'm your host, Madison Malloy. This is episode 183. And on today's episode, we are taking a deep dive into the world of public relations. I really want to understand kind of the ins and outs of this industry. Obviously, if you're building a brand or you're trying to be a social media influencer or gaining more awareness for something, PR is essential to really get you out there. You could have the best book, the best product, the best face, but if you don't have the right team behind you or the right strategy, you might just get lost in the masses of other people that are out there. So we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to talk about, so our guest is a PR agent. So he's going to give us the ins and outs and the dirt and the gossip, which is fun. And he's also going to talk about his book that came out this summer called Fuck Off Chloe, which is all about kind of the drama that is behind the public relations area. So this should be a fun, funny episode. It'll be educational. I think it's important that everybody, no matter what you do, understands the ins and outs of PR, because one day you will need it. And it's important to kind of understand how it works so you can find the best person for you. Just a reminder before we get started that please subscribe, rate if you haven't already, leave us a review. It helps us tremendously. I would be very, very grateful. And this is Next to Madison, the podcast to make you happier, healthier, and wealthier. So we will be right back with our guest on this episode of Next to Madison.
Hey, it's Madison Malloy. I'm excited to announce that my new book, Time to Lighten the Fuck Up, is now available online and in stores. You can pick up your copy today by going to Amazon or barnesandnoble.com. This new book is a humorous self-help guide to help you remove the obstacles that are holding you back so you can take things less seriously and live a more enjoyable life. I'm so excited for you to read it. Now back to the show.
All right, we are back with our fabulous guest on this episode of Next to Madison. With me today is the amazing PR agent, Jeremy Murphy, and author of Fuck Off Chloe. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm glad you can say fuck, because
yes.
I've been doing so much media, and they're calling it F off, and I accidentally dropped the F-bomb on a local radio station. I got banned from the market, so.
Oh, no. Okay, so that's very important, because I have a book with the F title in it, and it's like you always have to. I should probably just start saying time to lighten the F up, time to lighten the F up.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that is good to know. But this book has got amazing. It's done very well. It has amazing reviews on Amazon. The reviews are actually funny. What was the inspiration behind writing this book for you?
None. It's an accident. The book happened by accident. I was during COVID. There was nothing to do, so I got really drunk, and I started making lists. It started with people I hate, but that list got really long. So I started making lists of things I don't like about media and PR, and I posted it on a PR group on Facebook, and it got likes and shares and comments, and it kind of just exploded. And a member of this group turns out to be from a publishing company, and she DM'd me and she said, "This is a book. Have you considered it?" No.
Wow.
I had a book deal 2 days later.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Every struggling writer hates me because I had no proposal. It came to me, and I'm like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They shouldn't hate you. They're just jealous.
Yeah.
That's the number one. So don't take it personally. But when things are meant for you, they're going to happen. Everybody's got a different path. And especially in kind of the media world or the art world or Hollywood, it's so important to drive that factor into your head, because you're like, why am I getting left behind? Why are people not looking at me? Well, maybe it wasn't your time, you know? So you had the book deal, and then you were like, all right, I got to do this.
Yeah, I had to write it. And so that was July. No, the book deal happened in June. And then it was due by the end of August. And I really didn't have a book. I mean, I just had snotty lists. And so now I had to turn it into a book. but it just came so easy. It just like literally dripped out of my fingers.
Oh,
And
nice.
which goes to your point, I think it was made to happen.
Yeah.
Uh, the funny thing was, I had so much content, and the editor was like, Jeremy, this is great. Some of the content we don't want to use. I'm like, why not? Does it suck? No, it's too offensive. I'm like, too offensive? So like I had a chart like match the PR agency to the terrorist group.
Oh, oh gosh.
And then I had another chart, pardon my French, but it was how to identify the office cunt.
Okay.
And then I had
Everybody
one
has
about,
one.
yeah. And then I had one about like the lunacy of fat shaming, and how it's everybody's fault but your own.
Yeah.
So I had to take that out because the editor was like, Jeremy, someone has to buy this. You're offending everybody. So yeah, so I had the world's best editor. We put it together in something readable, and that's kind of how it happened.
Oh, well that is, I mean, that's great. And obviously it's been, but it's been very well received, and it's funny. So tell us about some of your favorite stories that made the book or didn't make the book.
One of my favorite stories is before the book came out, the National Enquirer wrote an article saying that this was going to be a tell-all expose about my time at CBS, and I was spilling the secrets on all the stars. And I'm like, where did you get that? So I tracked down the person who wrote it, and I said, how'd you get that? And the person said, darling, it was too good to fact check. Wow. But if you parse the article, nothing's wrong. The way they wrote it was brilliant. Sources say the feeling in Hollywood is, well, you can't prove the feeling's wrong. It was brilliant. I don't know if it helped the book, but it was very interesting. I've never been in the Enquirer before.
Yeah, that's got to be exciting.
But overall, it's been pretty good. I mean, I've had like I've done a lot of promotion. I did a lot of it myself. I was pleasantly surprised how well it was received. I really thought I was going to get canceled because it's very saucy and very unwoke. But people seem to like it. I think I struck a nerve.
Well, you know what? And actually, the top selling movie was the new Top Gun.
Yep.
And they're saying because it wasn't woke. The media is telling us we want woke, but the reality is if you go around and you turn off the news, people don't want woke.
No one
They
wants
just want to
woke.
be left the fuck alone and have a good life.
No one wants woke. If you were actually to get an honest poll, I would say 2% want woke. The problem is the people who do want it have an agenda that's usually academics, politicians, special interests, coalitions, and they have the microphone and they speak
right.
And they're shaming people and they're going after people. So if you don't agree with them, they label you. And once you're labeled racist or sexist or homophobic online, well, hey, welcome to the Google age. That stuff shows up forever. And you don't want someone to type your name and all of a sudden you're a racist. So people are scared. I mean, they're playing dirty, but most people, I would say 98% of the country is sick of this.
Yeah. No, it's true. But people are afraid to speak out because that 2% is so loud and is so vicious where, and I talk about this in my book, people have different opinions. People have different brains, different DNA, different values, different upbringings. Your opinion isn't right and their opinion isn't right. It's simply an opinion. And listening and respecting them will make the world a better place. But
we've lost the ability to agree to disagree. And that's the problem is like, it used to be someone feels one way, I feel the other, but no one's bad.
No.
We just feel differently. And now, I was out to dinner with a friend of mine, very smart, Harvard educated, and we started talking about Prince Harry and Meghan, who I despise. I think they're grifters and they're liars. And so anyways, we're talking and I just told her that. And all of a sudden I was racist because Megan is half black. Well,
oh my gosh.
I didn't think racist. Oh, and then I was against mental health because her cry for help. Oh, because life in a palace is so hard.
Yeah, please.
Please. But by the laws today, I was racist and I was anti-mental health.
Okay, well, that's a ridiculous opinion. No, a lot of people feel that Meghan Markle is very tone deaf and she's saying things that are just not right. And it's just like, okay, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Like she needs to wake up with gratitude of all the blessings that she has. We all fall on hard times, no matter what. And obviously maybe she had a rougher time than I did.
No, she was on a TV show and she made a lot of money.
I'm the one that needs to be felt. I'm just kidding.
Right. Like the world's smallest violin is playing her sob story.
Yes. I will say though, I always tell people this every time you want to bitch about somebody or complain about somebody or be like, this person's out of their rocker. I always say the first thing I do before I critique somebody is I find something good about them. At least 3 things that are really good about them. You can't disagree that she is hot. She's
gorgeous.
She's gorgeous. Got great skin, fantastic jawline, beautiful. She's amazing. But I always find when I do that, my critique loses less of its need. Or its power.
But you're being fair. Like she's also an incredible actress. Like I loved her on that show Suits.
I thought you meant her acting on her podcast and all the interviews she's doing.
No, that's acting too, because it's all fake. But like on that show Suits, I loved her. I like when she and Harry got together, I was so excited because I really liked her. She's gorgeous. I think he deserved. But the two of them are just like, professional victims. And, it's all about them. They're not thinking about anybody else except their brand.
Yeah.
Archwell, Royal, whatever it's called. Yeah. It's like they have their hands out for money. And what was it? He said, "Oh, and they wouldn't cover security for our children, and they're at risk." He inherited millions of dollars from his mother.
I know.
You are not on the bread line. Okay, you can afford your own security.
Exactly. No, it's very true. Nobody maybe they did it first. Nobody feels sorry for these people anymore. I think now Megan just needs to stop talking, or she needs to take more of a tone. I mean, I feel like I need to go in and help her with her PR, and I'm not even a PR person, and just be like, listen, everybody will love you if you stop playing the victim card. There's things in our lives that upset us that don't feel fair. But if you start coming at it from a different angle, you are going to be the biggest thing in the world because she's got the goods.
And stop lecturing us. Like one of the things was the environment. You're flying private planes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not listening to any of these people until they stop flying private jets. Exactly. Like anything you say, I'll listen to my aunt. She doesn't have a private jet. She drives an electric car. I'm going to listen to her. She's putting her money where her mouth is. I'm not listening to these people. If it was that big of a deal and it was that much of a threat and you're not trying to push an agenda, you would stop flying that private jet. Exactly. So you do that, zip it. So let's bring it back to PR, because I think we talked about the woke thing right now, and people are afraid to say anything. People are afraid to wear the wrong. People are just walking around literally with like their asshole glued shut because they're just afraid that like anything could go. And people that work for companies, especially, I mean, I'm surprised the heart attack rate hasn't gone through the roof. It has for other reasons. We won't get into that. But the amount of stress that's on corporate workers now to conform, they can't even be themselves. How could you be the best at your job if you constantly feel like you have a target on your back?
You can't. I mean, it's like there's more people in HR than your department. You'll get tased for saying you look nice today. It's absolutely ridiculous. There's this witch hunt mentality. And I hate to use that term because I know Trump has politicized it, but it's really, this is what's going on. And, you know, I'm glad I'm not in a corporation or a big company. Like with my firm,
Oh, me too.
I actually am kind of a renegade. Like I'll crack a joke in a pitch. I'll put something saucy in an email, and the journalists are so happy to hear something funny,
Yeah,
genuine. And by the way, I don't care. Cancel me. I really don't care. You can't fire me. Okay. So I guess I have that freedom to just do what I want, but media loves it. They love someone like cracking a joke and being sarcastic and saying something catty.
yeah.
So all this has given me a niche. So
Yeah. No, it's so true. So what were some of the things in the book about PR specifically that just drove you fucking nuts?
oh, Google Docs, Spread Docs, Zoom, whatever. If I see another platform, I am going to scream. There are so many things now that you need to do your job, like Dropbox, Share Drive, WeTransfer, Google Docs, Slack, boom, bang, pow. Like, stop.
Right.
I always tell clients, like, all right, would you rather me doing your trackers with color-coded bullshit, or I don't know, doing my job and calling reporters and getting you press?
Yeah.
Pick one, because that it'll be ridiculous because I don't know that and I don't want to do it, but I'm good at getting you press, and I will literally send you an email with links to all the press I got. That's what you're getting.
Yeah. And that's what
Every time, and all these, it's kind of a millennial Gen Zer phenomenon that there's always a new platform. Like I heard one Canva. I don't know what that is.
Canva.
Whatever.
It's like a fancy PowerPoint. That's all it is.
I just learned PowerPoint. Okay, stop. Like that's not good enough now. We have to do something else. I actually have in my service agreement with new clients that I don't do this. I will not do your tracker, your Excel, Google Doc with all your, no.
Yeah.
It's not what I do. But the younger generation loves this, loves it, and then they're disdainful if you don't know it. So, you know what? Whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's why you work for yourself.
Yeah.
Because you can be like, if you don't like it, well, there's the roar.
Absolutely. You know, that's where the book title came from. So I was doing.
Who's Chloe?
Well, I will never reveal who it is, but I was doing work for another firm, and I sent a strategy, and I put all the 20 people that had to be CC'd or whatever on it. And someone named Chloe replied back just to me and said, TLDR, LOL. I don't know what that means. I had to look it up. It means too long, didn't read. Fuck you.
Are you kidding me?
Like,
this person needs to be smacked.
Oh, I know. And then I thought, wait a minute, this is comedy gold.
It really is
comedy gold. And her name is Chloe. But by the way, they're all named Chloe. They're all named Chloe. So I'm like, if I ever write a book, that's the title. And then this came up, I'm like, boom.
Yeah. No, it's so funny. So what other type of drama and like funny stories did you have you encountered?
Oh my God. Clients who think that they can do PR on their own, clients who lie to the press and you have to clean it up. Clients want a lot more for a lot less these days.
Yeah.
And, I got really, really lucky that I have a core group of clients that are awesome and just trust me and I do my job. But there are these other clients who just want everything officious. And that is really throwing me off my game.
Okay.
And then you have it's shifted. Like you have pay for play. People like you'll send out a press release and I must get like 50 people offering me coverage for money.
I have heard that. I recently spoke to somebody who said we charge X because it cost us to get you featured in certain publications or things. And I'm like, what happened to just genuine interest?
First of all, if you have to charge for content, that means no one's reading. Okay. That means you have
Like,
no business model, because if you had readers, you would have subscribers and advertisers. You don't.
right?
And that, and then influencers, like,
Listen, the whole influencers. My sister-in-law has a friend who's a teacher. I forgot what grade she teaches, but she was telling her, she goes, "You will not believe this. We had we had like a people what they wanted to do, almost like a career day type thing. And these are, I think, middle school, maybe high school. Maybe it is high school." And she said over half the class said they wanted to be an influencer.
of course they do.
That was
It
their career.
doesn't require any
Right.
work.
But it's like, is this ever going to go away? I don't think it's ever going to go away. I think the platforms are just going to shift. Trust me, being an influencer is great, right? If I could, like, I go out and buy clothes, right? If I could get those clothes for free and just take a picture, that saves me money. And then I can invest more of it, right? That's good. Trust me, I would love to be an influencer. Are you fucking kidding me? Sounds great.
Right.
If it comes naturally, I'm not going to sit there and go. But let's talk about the influencers, because I follow a lot of them on like TikTok, because it's like fun to see their stuff. But it's exhausting. I feel like it's also a mind-numbing, draining.
Oh, it's exhausting. And you have to do your homework. It's not just about how many followers you have. You have to look at the engagement. You have to look, okay, where are they based? So if I have a client that has money for social media, but their market is the US, you look at these influencers, well, they're in Argentina, or they're in some, and that's where your audience is. This is not helping me.
Right.
And then you look at their content. Is it genuine? Because I think people naturally, if they see sponsored content, a button goes off. Someone paid for this. I mean, a lot of people are stupid. They don't notice that, but I think a lot of people do. And so, like, the water's polluted. Like, everybody's paying you. Nothing's genuine. So there's a lot of garbage out there, and it's really on us to figure out who's more effective. But it's also fleeting. You know, who has an audience today? Tomorrow it's TikTok. It's going to be like, this doesn't translate. It's kind of like now. If you don't do it, like, tomorrow, it's not effective. So,
I know.
You know, I don't do social media anymore. So I'll refer people to someone who does, because I just don't understand it. I don't see the value. I think Facebook is a dumpster fire. But have at it.
Yeah. So do you represent influencers or no?
No, I won't do that.
You will? Okay. Yeah, there was a guy that was on this podcast, Stratus Morfogen, very successful restaurateur, had a book come out, and he had made a post. It was funny. He goes, "If one more influencer comes into my restaurant to ask for a free meal, I'm going to punch them in the face." And he goes,
and that's all they do.
"I don't
everything
give
for
a
free.
shit. I'm not feeding you for free. I don't give a shit if you're an influencer. Pay for it or don't walk in my restaurant anymore."
Exactly.
I said, "Good for you."
They want everything for free. And, you know, I would be interested to see, like, you know, the cost versus what you got out of it. Because they do a story. By the way, I learned this the hard way. Stories disappear after a few hours or 24 hours.
24, yeah.
Okay. How effective is that? Like,
I guess it like keeps you like at the top and like seen and like with this.
But for someone who's paying for that, you get a message up there 16 hours.
Yeah, I would make them do an actual post.
Exactly. But it's all about stories, which I have no idea how to do. I tried it once.
There's so much crap. It's just
I think my floor got more camera time than I did.
Yeah. That's great. So let's talk about PR strategy, though, because I feel like even if people are listening to this and they work for a corporation, they think, well, I don't need PR. You might one day, whether you're frustrated at your job or you get canceled because of cancel culture, you might find yourself starting a brand, wanting to be an influencer, writing a book, being in a position where you need PR. So let's kind of break that down, because I've been dealing with that with my book, and I'm learning a lot, but it's amazing how much these services cost, and not a lot of people can afford them.
No, it can be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with PR that a lot of people don't understand is, you know, there's an audience of one when you do it, and it's the journalist. You're not talking to readers, you're talking to the journalist, okay? Because that's who's writing the story. So you have to say, what does that journalist want? What are they writing about? What's topical? What can they give their audience that's valuable content wise? And that's how you have to craft the story, because, the New York Times is not going to run your press release. They're just not. You have to prove that what you're saying is valuable, different, new. And that's really how you do it. But a lot of people just are not thinking about that. I started as a newspaper reporter, and I was in journalism for probably 10 years. So it's still in my mind how to do that. But that's it. And, you do need traditional media, because traditional media is not traditional anymore. All these news orgs, they're online. They have social. The content goes everywhere. So there's still a lot of value in it. And you want a firm to tell your story, because we know how to write it. We know how to position it. We know how to spin it. So, the content we write, you can use on your website. You can use in your marketing material. I mean, there's such value. So, PR firms are expensive, but you have to look at the ROI on it. Like, what am I getting out of this? And that's every client's decision. Like, I can't make that call for them. This is what I cost. And if it works in your budget, fine. I do think you'll get a return. I think it's very valuable, but that's up for other people to decide.
Yeah, because obviously they're not going to be paying thousands a month if they're not making thousands more.
Exactly.
But yeah, and that's just the thing. So, but it's amazing how they cost such a different amount of money. Like, everyone has such a range. I spoke to one PR person. I was just kind of doing my research, and she said something like she didn't. I didn't get the exact figure, but she was like, "Oh, I have a list of like 1,500 media contacts, and good response rate is 4 to 5." And I'm like, "Huh? I could do 4 to fucking 5 on my own. Like, why would I pay her all that money? That's insane."
Well, a lot of PR firms, first, it's the churn and burn. A lot of these firms are built on getting new clients, doing nothing, and 3 months they fire you, but you get a new one. Because, they promise you the world, and you're like, okay, yay. And then they put a 22-year-old on your account who doesn't know how to write. They think sending a press release is PR. They don't know how to follow up. They think email is calling. And that's what they get. Like, I have a small firm, and, I can't afford the churn and burn. Like, I have to come through for my clients. And by the way, PR is very transparent. You know if you're getting it or not. You can't come up with an excuse. Like, are you getting placements or are you not? It's that simple. So, but, the bigger firms, 20,000 a month is not uncommon. 10, like
Holy.
that. Like, for a big corporation, yeah, maybe. But, like, what are you getting out of that?
Yeah.
Like, it's really the smaller firms that give you the hustle, that really, that have the relationships with journalists. We don't just send out press releases. We call, we follow up. We have, we take journalists out. We call in favors. You always want, I think you want someone hungry versus someone who expects you to fire them and then they'll hire someone else.
That's very like insightful. I mean, it's just it's so interesting with the world of like PR and like media and everything being online, how what it's kind of come down to, and it blows my mind. I don't know how to like totally say this to come off exactly right, but you need talent to back it up, but it's like, you don't have to be that great. You just need the right people to market you. And if you don't have a shit ton of money, well, you better start praying to Jesus that it comes through, because you're going to need it.
Well, I always say,
it's like Kim Kardashian. She's not qualified to be a private equity person, but because she's got the money and the influence, brilliant. I'd invest in that company hands down. I know it's going to be successful. All these influencers starting these brands, we don't know how many of them are going to stick, but it's brilliant. It's going to make money.
I mean, Kim, I think she accidentally created a whole market. I don't think she knew what she was doing.
They were like, you need to have if you want to be a billionaire with all these other, skincare celebrities, what I'm calling them now, you need to do this, based on
She
my
learned,
forecast.
I think she learned on the job.
Yeah.
She learned,
Sometimes you have to
wow,
do that.
this is valuable. And now I think she's very savvy, very shrewd. She understands the value of what she brings, her audience,
Yeah.
her influence. But she set an unrealistic template where everybody thinks they can do this. Well, no, that happens. That's like winning the lottery. Like she won the lottery. There's nothing unique that she was doing except being like a vapid socialite taking selfies. Like there was no valuable content. Like there was nothing. She won the lottery.
Yep.
People are like, oh, I could be famous too for doing nothing. But that's not going to happen to most people.
No. And that brings up a point that, I want to talk about on another podcast too, but it's like, it's good to have aspirations and goals. And if you want to be an influencer, that's great. Don't let anyone take that away from you, but also be realistic in it.
I would say
have a day job, have something to pay your bills, and then have fun with it, because it may or may not happen.
Well, I think Anna Wintour is a genius. They were a little late, but she said something like, you know what? The true influencers are our editors. So they put them all online because they research the stuff. They know the quality, that they know. And so I think that is a true influencer. And if we get the people who know what they're talking about to do that, I think that's going to be the shift, because some of these people are just so stupid. They're holding up a product and saying they love it. They've never used it. So I think, to be an influencer, you have to have influence. Right. And to have influence, you have to know what you're talking about, because I think maybe not everybody's smart, but I think we can suss out if someone's talking about something they don't know. But Anna really, she put that into perspective. I mean, Condé Nast was very late to the game, and I think that's why they've had such trouble. But she said, Vogue is not just a magazine, it's the runway. And then they have so many other things. And I think that was very, very smart. Mm-hmm. And that's what I would look for. An influencer is someone who, I don't know, is worthy of having influence.
Yeah, well, exactly. And it's like, I think we think of influencer now, and we go to their social channels and we look at the numbers.
Right.
And then that's, or the blue check mark, it's kind of what we're looking for as well. So, but it really is like, obviously who's got influence, over this market. But so any other like fun, juicy stories that could make us laugh about the PR world? I feel like there's so much drama in that, especially in fashion.
We always say, like, I talk to PR people every day, and we always say you can't make this stuff up.
Oh, I'm sure.
Stuff we see every day is just unbelievable. The real juicy stuff was when I was at CBS, and one of my jobs was to travel around the world with some of the stars.
Oh, wow. That must have been fun. All right. So what you can.
Well, I'm going to be nice. I took Neil Patrick Harris on the Orient Express.
Okay.
From Venice to Paris. Charming. He's like Cary Grant. Charming, witty, funny. Like, we're still in touch. I'll tell you a funny story. Juliana Margulies. We took her to the south of France for a photo shoot at the Hotel de Cap, which is like this crazy, famous, glamorous resort. And we were doing, a big cover, and she's gorgeous. Like, I've never seen like someone like that. And she's so graceful. But we had, the crew was French. Okay. And we had a hairstylist named Bruno Wepe, who's a legend. And the look we wanted it wet, like the hair wet. And Juliana was like, I love that, but my hair is naturally curly and frizzy. So you can wet it, but in an hour it's going to be frizz. And Bruno goes, no, 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 no. I use cock grease. She's, what? Cock grease. Excuse me? Grease of the cock. What? So she's like, show me this. And it's literally like a pomade or a hair product. It's like chicken grease. And it was brilliant. Like, she looked so great. So
Does it smell?
no, it was like perfect. But at the end of the night, we finished the shoot and she went upstairs and she and her husband, Keith, were going to go out for dinner. But she still, made for a photo shoot. And she's like, all right, let's go. But I have to get the cock grease out of my hair. So anyways, she told that joke on Jimmy Fallon. And he just felt, I mean, it was just so funny. But, I have those moments where, when you're traveling with stars, you really get to know them. Some of them are nice. Some of them are not nice. I mean, we had one actor who we did a photo shoot in Miami at a beach resort, and we're doing the shoot and everything's great. And then his manager came up and said, everything's great. We love everybody. You're the real stars. And then said, but the actor, he doesn't do portals. What? What's a portal? He can't act or pose near a staircase, doorway, or window because he finds it distracting.
Okay, I've never heard them called portals, but I guess
Portals.
they are. They're going to something.
I mean, this is the funniest thing I've ever heard. We were all, and we're in a hotel, that's all they have. So we wound up shooting it where nothing else is. And I was just like, I've heard everything. And then things kept getting crazier. So lots of stories.
But that's got to be fun though. It's like some of those crazy, ridiculous stories. That's what keeps you going.
Yeah, but sometimes it's when you're with a celebrity, you're at work, and it's especially in television and Hollywood, whatever. It's all about them.
Yeah.
Because if they don't get what they want, they will call the president of the network, the CEO, and complain, I didn't get my 5-star meet and greet. I didn't get my champagne at the airport. Or, something goes wrong. The car's 5 minutes late. So like you have to be on your A game when you're working with them because they make you feel like you're friends. You're not friends.
Yeah. And you got to be careful of that, especially when your job's on the line, It's just so funny. Like we can all be demanding in our own ways and we can all be nice in our own ways. It just depends. There's a lot of different factors playing in how you're going to be on certain days. Some days you just run into somebody on a bad day, but it's just always cracks me up when people are so high maintenance and so demanding. Like, oh, you need to have champagne. I need to have a 5-star thing. Yeah. In my mind, this is how I see everybody as equal. And this is why I am not scared to talk to anyone, is everybody takes a massive dump, hopefully every day.
Well, I think
we're all the same. We're all the same. Yeah, we're not different.
I absolutely agree with you. The problem is the industry has labeled them the talent. So
I know
everybody else is untalented.
Right. I know. We need to start pushing home that like everybody is special. We need everybody to do jobs. This whole thing of like, oh, you're better because you're famous or you have money is just I don't think it's ever gonna go, but it's gotta go.
I think it should be a meritocracy. Just because you're on a TV show and people does not make you better.
It doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. But they think it's all in the head. It doesn't make you better.
But I do think artistically there is a hierarchy because there are people better at what they do. There are better painters. There are better writers, and that is not something you can learn. That's a natural born talent.
It's a God-given talent, I call it, and that's why people need to find their talents and run with it because you were given a gift. Now you just have to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the problem is, and especially that's one of the things in the book. The problem is this whole woke thing. Everybody's a winner. Like these children are growing up, you get a trophy for going to work.
I know.
No one loses. no one's lost, everybody's a winner. And then on social media, everybody likes and blah, 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 blah. And people have too much self-esteem. And they think they're good at everything. Well, no, you're not good at everything.
No.
You might find what you're good at. But for now, you're not good at everything. And they come into the workforce, and it's a harsh lesson because, no one's going to put up with that bullshit. Do your fucking job. Shut up. I don't care what you want to know our carbon footprint. Shut up and get the coffee.
Yeah. It's so true. We need to get back to that, like, spanking.
Yeah.
You're stupid, you're smart, like, who cares? Words, sticks and stones would break my bones, if words will never hurt me.
Yeah.
Because we are doomed. This generation of entitled, what are they, Gen Zers or whatever?
They're it's not like all grow a spine.
It's really bad. And my brother is, like, very strict with his two girls, which is good. Like, if they suck, they know, which is good.
Yeah.
And then you know how to improve. These girls, like, they're going to be hard workers. They're not going to think everything's entitled. I went to my niece's soccer game and she was sucking. She's 7, but she was not doing good. She was, like, biting her nails. She wasn't concentrating. She wasn't, and they're like, we're talking to her at the end. Like, if she is going to keep up with this, we're pulling her off the team. You show up to win and you do your best. You don't have to win, but this whole, like, hey, I'm cold, hey, is not going to work. And so they pulled her aside after the game, and she's a strong little girl. And they said, Morgan, I don't know what that was out there, but your head was out of the game. You were talking to your teammates. You weren't focused on the ball. You weren't hustling. What's going on? And she goes, well, first of all, let me explain something. The weather's cold. This is a new team, and I've never played defense. So I'm getting used to the position. But yes, my head was definitely not in the game, and I should have worn warmer clothes. So my bad. I will do better next time. And I was like, whoa, what a mature little kid. But she knew. Like, she's like, I know. I sucked. But we weren't going to be like, oh, good job. Let's go to Chipotle and get a taco. No, you were terrible. You need to understand,
One of my life lessons was when I was a kid, I was on a t-ball team, and I actually found a photo of the team. I'm like, oh, where's Jeremy? Find the fattest one. There he is. And we lost, and I sucked, and I remember crying about it to I don't know if it was my mother or father. And I'm like, oh, we lost. I was bad. And they're like, don't lose. And they were like, we're not going to, you could don't be cruel about it. But, next time, maybe do this, maybe do that. But I didn't get a trophy for losing. And it was a great lesson. And I remember, I don't want to feel like that again.
Yeah.
So it kind of gave me a hunger to win. And that's what's missing. Because, being competitive is like, oh my God, you told a child that they lost. Let's call the police.
I know. There was actually one school, I forgot what state it was in, but they were going to bring back the spanking. And I go, excellent idea. Maybe not for high school. That sounds a little kinky. But, like, for little kids.
Oh, I'm all for that. There's a school. It was in Detroit, and I don't know, it got in the media. I don't know if someone fact checked this, but they had kindergartners or first graders, and some of their children wanted to be animals for the day. And okay, imagination, that's great. But they wanted to really be an animal and poop on the ground.
Okay.
That requires some intervention. Oh no, the school put litter boxes in the bathroom.
Okay, talk about messing up. I'm scared for the generation. I swear, if Jesus doesn't come back, we're doomed.
Oh my God.
He's got to come back soon.
We're becoming a nation. We're becoming a nation of wimps.
Yeah,
that's really what's happening. Is everybody's overly sensitive.
I know.
You can't be more offended than the victim.
I know.
Right? You can't. Like, just, if someone gets assaulted, you can't be more offended than they are.
Jeremy, there is a whole chapter in my book called Time to Stop Being Offended. And I hope and pray that it will wake people the fuck up. Literally.
And I'm fascinated by
the fed up with people being offended.
And stop it. The Free Britney is so amusing to me. All these people fighting for her freedom. First of all, they know nothing about it. They don't even know the legality and the specifics. To have a conservatorship is probably the most serious, highest criteria a court can do, because you're taking away someone's rights. So you have to meet such a threshold and many, many different opinions, right? It was given for a reason. Maybe now she's better. Okay. Yeah. But all these people fighting for her right, you know nothing about this. And
well, by the way, I'm glad she's free now. So at least she's an adult, and
yeah, she's an adult. But you know what? I hope it wasn't people were bowing to public pressure, because this is serious. She was not a well person when it was, and some of the stuff she's putting on social media, I'm like,
oh, that's girl. A little, yeah, that's a little crazy. Girl. But I think she just maybe felt so caged. This is her way of being like, you know what, the walls are down and now my clothes are off.
God bless her. She's got a lot of expressing to do. You're not, we all wish the best for her, but the people who wanted this, the judges are not bad people. I think they were acting in her best interest. And you have all these people like, oh my God, she's been in jail or whatever. Shut up.
I know. It's so true. Well, before we wrap up, give us your top 3 tips to build influence and get your name out there.
Do your homework.
Okay.
Be informed, be educated, be worthy of being an influencer. Like, have something of value you're providing. Be genuine. Whatever you post, whatever you do, just make sure it's got integrity. Of course you're taking paid things, but don't just read their script. Like, put it in your own words. Like, make it seem genuine. Give it your own authentic voice. And then I would say be discerning. Don't take everything.
Yeah.
Some stuff is bad. Like, you see all these diet tips and this and that. And like, my favorite is that little belt you put on your belly and it shakes you and you're supposed to lose weight.
Does that work?
No.
Yeah. I was like, just get to the gym. Just do a plank. It's really great. I need to take my own advice here. Is before you go to bed, do a plank for a minute, or do 30 seconds, then build up, and then try to build up to 3 minutes. It's 3 minutes before bed.
Or how about not eat? Don't eat so much.
Yeah, that's hard for me. I'm glad I still have.
I've been overweight most of my life, but I know it's not anybody's fault but mine.
Exactly. I know. After this podcast, I'm going to eat. I can't wait. But I haven't eaten all day. All I have is like coffee.
That's why I'm so salty. I'm just like, argh.
You're hangry. Okay, and most importantly, where can people find you so they can either hire you or buy the book?
Okay, the book is Fuck Off, Chloe.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon. Anywhere you want, like, just type in the book title, it's there. Okay. My company is 360 Bespoke. And we call it that because you get the 360 treatment, and bespoke, it's tailored to you.
Oh, very catchy.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you guys go buy the book, prepare to laugh your asses off. If you're looking for a PR in the areas he focuses in, contact him. And thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And thank you for everybody who's listening, wherever you are. I appreciate you. We couldn't do this without your continued support. So thank you very much. And we will see you next time to find out who's next. Bye.
Hey, your host here, Madison Malloy. Please make sure to subscribe to the show on all podcast platforms, and please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. Also, if you have any questions or comments, you can email us at contact@next2madison.com. I thank you again for listening. Bye.